Hi, welcome to Crime Clueless. I'm your host, Jenna. This week, we're doing something a little different. We're bringing you a two-part crossover from our sister show, Vanished Voices, hosted by myself and my co-host, Shannon. Vanished Voices focuses on cases involving people whose stories deserve far more attention than they get. This week's case is Phylicia Barnes. She's a 16-year-old honor student from Monroe, North Carolina. She disappeared in Baltimore in December of 2010. It's a case full of twists, frustration, and a justice system that failed her family over and over again. And we think you need to hear it. We'll be back with a new episode next week. But for now, settle in. Phylicia's story matters. Hi, welcome to Vanished Voices. We're your hosts. I'm Jenna.
And I'm Shannon.
Let's go to the week between Christmas and New Year's. The kind of week where time feels slow, families are together, leftovers are in the fridge, and nobody really wants to go back to normal life yet.
And nobody knows really what day or time it is.
Nope, it's one big blur.
Yes.
For one family in Monroe, North Carolina, that slowness was about to become the longest week of their lives. A 16-year-old girl, an honor student, athlete, the kind of kid teachers remember, had traveled to Baltimore to spend a couple weeks during her holiday break with her older half-sister. She'd made the trip before. There's nothing unusual about it. On December 28th, 2010, she posted on Facebook. She said she was at her sister's apartment. Things were good. She was a little hungry. Baltimore police launched into one of the most extensive missing person searches the city had ever seen after she was reported missing. FBI helicopters swept the area, volunteers flooded the streets, a reward climbed to over $30,000, billboards went up along major highways, and yet outside of Baltimore and her hometown near Charlotte, the country was almost completely silent. No wall-to-wall cable news coverage, no viral hashtags, no candlelit vigils broadcast on national television. 4 months after she vanished, workers at a dam on the Susquehanna River spotted something in the water. 3 trials followed, and nearly a decade in courtrooms. And today, no one is behind bars. Her name was Phylicia Simone Barnes. She was 16 years old. She was brilliant. She was loved. And the system, the media, the courts, all of it, failed her at nearly every turn. And this is her story.
I have so many questions.
I have a lot of answers in this one because we do have 3 court cases.
Oh.
So
all right.
I have more answers than usual.
Okay.
Phylicia was born on January 12th, 1994 in Monroe, North Carolina, a mid-sized city about 20 miles southeast of Charlotte. She grew up there, went to school there. She was building her life there. And by every count, she was remarkable. She was a straight-A student, an athlete, the kind of teenager who made people around her feel like the future was going to be just fine. Teachers remembered her, classmates looked up to her, and she wasn't just coasting through high school, she was building towards something. She had even skipped a grade and was on track to graduate early. There were college scholarships ahead of her, a whole life ahead of her. Her mom, Janice, described her the only way a parent can, always with a mix of that particular pride and tenderness that tells you everything about who a person was to the person who loved them most. Phylicia had a big family. She had half-siblings scattered across different cities, the kind of extended family that stays connected across distance. And that's actually what brought her to Baltimore in the first place. Her half-sister, Dina, lived in an apartment in Northwest Baltimore. Phylicia had visited before, the prior June, so it wasn't a strange or an unusual decision to go visit Dina. It was just a girl going to spend the holidays with her half-sister. Now, her mom had urged Phylicia to reconnect with that side of the family. Phylicia had grown up with her mom after her parents divorced when she was little. Her dad, Russell, had 3 kids from a prior relationship, and that would be Dina, Kelly, and Brian. Growing up, Phylicia hadn't seen them very often, and Janice wanted her to be able to have a good relationship with them and get to know them. She had urged Phylicia to reach out on Facebook, and they had connected in the spring of 2009 and started building relationships. She had arrived in Baltimore that holiday season on December 18th. By all accounts, it had been a fun visit. She was there, she was safe, she was with family. And then December 28th arrived. So 3 days after Christmas, the holidays winding down, people are starting to plan for New Year's, going back to work, returning to that normal day-to-day life. At Dina's apartment in Northwest Baltimore, Phylicia's there visiting. Dina is older than Phylicia. She's 27. Usually, when Phylicia visits, she would go to work with Dina or her other half sister, Kelly. But this morning, she says she's tired. She's going to spend the day at the apartment instead. Now, this timeline that I'm going to lay out for you didn't come together cleanly or smoothly. It is pieced together after court dates. It's pieced together after.
Do Dina and Kelly live together?
No.
Okay.
It's coming together after lots of police interviews and
Okay.
conflicting stories, but this is the official timeline of the day.
Okay.
Okay. So Dina leaves for work around 8:45. Kelly goes to work even earlier than that. So when Phylicia said she was tired, didn't want to go to work with Kelly or with Dina, both of them are at work before 9.
Okay.
Now, this left at the apartment Phylicia and Dina's former boyfriend, Michael, his little brother, whose name is Delane, and he's 16. So they're the only two at the apartment in the morning. Now, at this apartment, Dina lived there. Her former boyfriend, Michael, they were in the process. They had broken up fairly recently, still on good terms. He was working on moving out of the apartment, but he was over a lot. I don't know if he had his next place fully set up yet.
Okay.
Sometimes he had 2 little brothers that would stay there. And he also had a cousin, Kevin, who was living at the apartment.
Okay.
I don't see him a lot in a lot of things. I'm not sure how old he is, but he is over 18.
Okay. So
But
right now it's just Delane, who's 16, and
Phylicia.
Phylicia, who's also 16.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, Delane didn't live there, but he had spent the night because they had all stayed up really late the night before, hanging out,
Mm-hmm.
same age, whatever. When Dina leaves, she says that Phylicia was still asleep. Around 9 or 10, Michael shows up to pick up Delane. He's taking them to their grandmother's house. Then Michael heads back to the apartment. When Michael...
Did Michael say that he saw Phylicia at that time?
Not the first time.
Okay.
She was still asleep, but he heads back to the apartment. He says at that time, Phylicia was up and getting ready for the day.
Okay.
He got to work on laundry and packing. At 11:08, Phylicia texts Kelly, so her other half-sister, and
Mhm.
asks if she'll come to the apartment after work and do Phylicia's hair for her. She wanted to get it done.
Mhm.
I'm not sure if that's Kelly's job or if she just
Knows how to do hair.
knows how to do hair.
Right.
Yep. Kelly had said, yeah, I'll for sure come do that. After that text, Phylicia and Dina spoke on the phone. Phylicia tells Dina that Michael is there. He's packing. He's doing laundry. After Phylicia and Dina talk on the phone, they continue to text. They're just texting normal, random stuff about the day. Phylicia told Dina she was going to get her hair done later with Kelly. Nothing out of the ordinary. Their last text is at 12:23 p.m. Phylicia then posts on Facebook at 12:30 a post about being hungry. It's lunchtime. And this is the very end of 2010. So we're still posting just whatever we're thinking about, I guess, on Facebook. Right around this time, Dina tries to contact Michael, but his phone is turned off. And I'm not sure if she was sending a text or if she was making a call, but the text either isn't going through or the call is going straight to voicemail. At 12:35, Kelly texts Phylicia to let her know that she was able to get off work early, so she's going to pick up whatever. She'll be to the apartment between 1 and 1:30. She doesn't get a response from Phylicia though. At 1:04 p.m., Michael gets in touch with Dina. He tells her that his phone had died. He's explaining why he missed either the call or text that she had sent earlier. He also tells her that Phylicia had sat down for a minute and fallen asleep on the couch. So
Seems
explaining,
odd if she's already slept in, but okay.
it did say that they stayed up all night. And I don't know if that means till 4 a.m. or 6
Well,
a.m.
and that would
or.
yeah, so 2 people still have to go to work, and then
Mhm.
I can see why she didn't wanna go to work with her sisters that day.
Totally. So it sounds like he's explaining maybe why she hasn't responded to texts or calls.
Yeah, so saying she's asleep. Okay.
Yeah. Kelly, in the meantime, is still trying to get in touch with Phylicia. She's calling and texting.
Oh, when he called Dina back, was he still at their shared apartment?
He was.
Okay. I
And
mean,
he'd
so
been in and out.
right,
So
but
he was like taking things, coming back, switching laundry, packing things, putting them in his car, taking that, running errands, in and out kind of all morning.
right. I'm just curious though if he's still there, why didn't he just go wake up Phylicia to say, "Hey, your sister's trying to get a hold of you?"
I don't know. Right. Good question. Eventually, while Kelly is trying to call and text, she says it seems like in the middle of that, Phylicia phone goes from just Phylicia not responding to being turned off.
Okay.
So she didn't know if it died or if maybe Phylicia was doing something and needed to not be interrupted, but she doesn't have work, she doesn't have school. She's planning on seeing Kelly, so it doesn't really make sense. Either way, she decides to go home after work instead of going to the apartment because she doesn't know if Phylicia left or if she's still there ready for
Oh,
her.
okay, wait, it's Kelly also I'm thinking it was Dina.
Yeah.
So it's Kelly's so she does not know that her half sister's asleep on the couch.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Now, it felt weird to Kelly because Phylicia had been excited and,
Well,
Kelly
yeah,
was
if
excited
you're
to get off
saying,
work
"Hey,
early.
come do my hair," then you're
Mhm.
supposed to be responding to me saying, "I'm coming to do your hair."
Right. And I don't know how early Kelly got off work. I don't know if she was supposed to work till 2 and got
Mhm.
off just a little bit, or if she was supposed to work till 5 and Phylicia wasn't planning on seeing her for hours.
Yeah.
I'm not sure on that one. Around 3 p.m., though, Kelly reaches out to Dina to see if Phylicia is with her. And did you go home early? Is she ready for me to come over? And Dina says that she's still at work. And she also tells Kelly that Michael had mentioned that Phylicia fell asleep. So it's probably why she's not responding. Michael calls Dina around 3:30 that afternoon. He said he had left the apartment. He also tells her that he was worn out and he wasn't planning to go to work that day and he was going to call in sick. He said he would lock up the apartment when he left for the last time.
Yeah, it sounds like even though they broke up, seemed rather amicable.
Yeah, it
Okay.
does. It seems like some reporting says they dated for a decade,
Oh.
like a really long time.
Uh-huh.
And also later, Dina says that it was like a 6 month to a year slow breakup.
Okay.
So where it was just not,
No one's really rushing it, but they kinda know it's
yeah,
reached the end.
right. It's almost that like sad, we're sad this isn't going to work out,
Yeah.
but it's just not type. At some point in that afternoon, Delane, Michael's brother, had decided to head back over to the apartment and he walks from his grandma's place to the apartment. When he got there, he found the front door unlocked and loud music playing and no one there. Later, when he was questioned about this, Delane says that's what they would do sometimes. If they didn't want to lock the door, they would play music to make it seem like people were there. If they were coming back and forth.
Well, I think I can say I was dumb like that in college. We had an apartment that was very much frequented by our friends, and so we would just leave it unlocked.
Yeah.
Knowing that somebody was going to be coming over, or knowing that really dumb.
Yep.
But, when you're
sounds like
19, that's things you do.
Yep. And that kind of sounds like this apartment. It sounds like Dina had a big friend group, and they would always
we would say we were the party apartment. And so we always had people in and out, in and out, in and out.
And
it would be annoying to get up and answer the door. So we just left it unlocked.
Yep.
People would knock and then just come on in.
Yep. That kind of sounds like this one. 4:50, Michael comes back to the apartment. He finds his brother there. Phylicia's not there. Michael texts Dina at 5:10. The text said, "Sis is up and active." Now, Michael says this text wasn't saying that Phylicia was there and up, but rather that she had gotten up and gone to do something.
I don't think so.
Up and active.
No, it sounds like you're saying she's there and up.
Yeah.
Does that mean otherwise, wouldn't you say, oh, she's left? One, how would you know? But two, that means you talked to her, and wouldn't you say, oh, she's going to do blah, blah, blah?
Right.
Which again is weird considering she's wanting to get her hair done by her sister Kelly.
Yes. And that was her plan for the day. Also, the other part of all of this is that Phylicia's only been to Baltimore one other time. She's only 16. She
doesn't know people. It's all through her family.
Yeah. And she doesn't know the city that well. Every time she goes and does anything, it is with Kelly or with Dina or with Brian. It's never just her out doing her own thing. After that text, Michael packed up more of his stuff and left, but Delane wanted to stay and wait for Phylicia. Dina got home from work around 6 p.m. Delane says he doesn't know where Phylicia is, and by this point, Dina hasn't heard from her for 5.5 hours. Dina is worried. She calls Kelly. Kelly hasn't seen or heard from Phylicia either. And so Dina starts calling everyone to see if Phylicia had gone with any of their friends or relatives, and nobody has seen Phylicia. When Dina can't find anybody that knows her whereabouts, she calls police. She gets the same answer that you would expect. Oh, she's probably just out. She'll be back. Dina's still talking to friends and family and worried and stressed. Now, that same night, around 8 or 9 p.m., Phylicia's mom was missing her. She wanted to check in, see how she was doing. She called Phylicia, went straight to voicemail. She called again, just trying to send texts. They're not sending. Not normal for Phylicia. So Janice calls Dina, and she doesn't know Dina super well. So even though she was her stepmom, it was 15 plus years ago. It was for a short amount of time, and they haven't lived in the same city. They're not close,
understandable.
It makes sense.
I just think I do think it's odd that she calls police around 6 and doesn't call the mom as part of the people she's calling, and or like maybe she left early and needed to get back to Charlotte, but
her flight wasn't till January 2nd.
Yeah.
But I mean, leaving early is definitely a possibility.
Right. But just why wouldn't you call her mother and be like, hey, have you talked to your child? Have you talked to Phylicia?
Yep. And
we can't find her before I call the police.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't know why that wasn't on her list either. And I also don't know how long it would have taken Janice to know this was happening.
Devil's advocate. Yeah, devil's advocate. Maybe, again, you're still probably hoping that she's going to walk through the door.
Yeah, and you don't have to stress her mom out.
Exactly. Let's not rattle people unnecessarily. Yeah.
Totally. And maybe calling police was also like a check-in. Have you heard anything? Was she in an accident? Was she picked up for something completely random?
Right.
Janice gets that call. She is freaking out because nothing like this has ever happened with Phylicia. She's never run away, To be able to go and stay with this stepsister, it was earned.
Yeah.
She is such a responsible, on top of everything kid that her mom wasn't worried about her going and staying in an apartment with a 20-something-year-old.
Right.
She is responsible.
Yeah, has a job, is working, also wants to establish a relationship with her younger sibling. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and
Well, and
Phylicia
27 is
too.
fully an adult.
Yes. But Phylicia is also so responsible that she's not worried. So Janice calls the police herself. She explains, no, Phylicia is not a runaway. She's a good kid. She's about to graduate. She's making plans for the future. There's definitely something wrong. Trying to get the police to kick it into action, but they're still not taking it seriously. Now, a few things of Phylicia's are missing from the apartment. Phylicia had just gotten brand new white Ugg slipper boots, and she wouldn't have worn them outside. Her and her mom talked about it. Like, you wear these outside one time, they're ruined.
Yeah.
Take good care of them.
Those are not cheap.
Right. So she had other shoes to wear out and about, and those were just cute, and we'll wear those around the house. Those were missing, but her other shoes were there. Also missing was a navy blue hooded peacoat, a brand new turquoise thermal shirt, and a pair of jeans. Her brown purse and her cell phone were missing. Now, even though her purse is missing, she had brought $150 cash with her, and she'd hidden that behind Dina's dresser for safekeeping.
Yeah.
And the money was still there.
So that tells me she didn't just leave.
Right. And she also didn't just go to get lunch because she wouldn't have had any money. Despite all of this, at first, Phylicia is classified as a runaway. The next day, though, police do assign a missing person detective to Phylicia's case. They aren't in true urgent mode yet. It will take some days to get to that point, but they at least have moved it from a missing person to a runaway. Let's see. And like I mentioned, Phylicia's supposed to fly home on January 2nd. When she missed that flight, the case is turned from a missing person straight to the homicide unit, which is interesting. I'm not exactly sure why. Around that same time, detectives start telling reporters that they think Phylicia has been abducted. They want a list of anyone who had access to Dina's apartment in the 10 days that Phylicia had been there. She gives them a list. It isn't short. Detectives take the list and they narrow it down to the 12 people that they want to focus on first. There are a lot of friends and family coming and going. From those people, police seize various devices. They also, into January, get warrants to search homes and cars. Some of the people on the list, including Michael, get a lawyer really quickly. Around the same time, Janice learns about the in and out parade of people, and she is not happy. She thought it was a quiet apartment. She did not know that there were men living in the apartment. She just thought it was...
Oh, she didn't know that the boyfriend had been living there? Oh.
Or his cousin, or sometimes his brothers. She thought it was just Dina. She also learns that Dina would let Phylicia drink while she was there. And she also let Phylicia try weed. She's furious.
Which is now legal, not for a 16-year-old, but back then definitely not legal.
Right. Janice also has said that Russell, Phylicia's dad, was an absentee father who never wanted Phylicia. But now that Phylicia is missing, he is front and center for the cameras. And so you'll see a lot from him when you look at this case or you look into it at all. And Janice has said since all of this happened that she felt like because she has a different last name and her other kids have a different last name, that they've been largely cut out from Phylicia's story. So I want to make sure to include them. Dina, though, goes on a podcast called Peas in Their Pods, and she fights back against the criticism. She said she wasn't super strict, but she never let Phylicia do anything that would put her in a vulnerable spot.
You didn't start a business just to keep the lights on. You're here to sell more today than yesterday. You're here to win. Lucky for you, Shopify built the best converting checkout on the planet. Like the just one tapping, ridiculously fast acting, sky-high sales stacking, champion of checkouts. That's the good stuff right there. So if your business is in it to win it, win with Shopify. Start your free trial today at shopify.com/win.
She said Phylicia was really shy and quiet, and I don't know, in the 27-year-old brain, here's a way to loosen up a little bit and make friends. She also says that it wasn't a steady stream of people coming in and out and that there were no drugs ever in her home. So I'm not sure where the weed was, but at the same time, Michael tells police that Phylicia loved visiting Baltimore because Dina treated her like an adult friend and not like a little sister. It was more like being at college and college dorm type situation. So those are the varying descriptions on the apartment situation. Now, detectives it seems like it took a good week. Like they were still in that Christmas to New Year's slump before they really got going. It's like it took, like they thought Phylicia would just show up at the airport to take her flight home. And when she didn't, then they were like, oh,
Like, yeah, okay.
maybe we should work on this.
Yeah.
In that in-between time, all of Phylicia's family came to Baltimore. They were doing missing person flyers. They're contacting media outlets. They are doing everything that they can to try to find her. But it really took a good week for police, which is really unfortunate that we
Right.
lost all those initial days. So they didn't search Dina's apartment until January 4th, which is quite a ways
Yeah.
after.
Like a full week.
Yep, a full week. Also on January 4th, there is a massive search of Lincoln Park. They have more than 100 officers that come through the woods, the streams. They bring in dogs and divers. They did this because they said they received a tip. Well, the tip that they got was somebody posted on the police department had put out on Facebook like a missing person flyer of Phylicia saying, if you have any information, contact us. And somebody commented under that post and said, bodies turn up in Lincoln Park. So not related to Phylicia or anything, but I don't think they had a ton of tips right then. So they did the search. They didn't find anything. On January 5th, they set up a 24-hour hotline for tips and leads. The FBI joined in, and police do, from this point on, put unprecedented resources into the search. They had 35 detectives involved throughout the search, and they had 6 who had the highest arrest and conviction rates exclusively on Phylicia's case. I'm not sure I've ever seen that.
Yeah, that's a lot. I know. I'm like, I wonder why.
Exactly. The FBI brought in 2 helicopters to sweep the area surrounding the apartment. They were specifically ones that had some kind of radar that could search for decomp. And so they were flying around looking for those. They also had heat-seeking equipment on them to also search in case she was alive somewhere.
Right.
Investigators pull security footage from the neighborhood. They specifically pulled it from all the surveillance cameras right across the street from the apartment. There was an outdoor shopping complex that had
so cameras,
food and
yeah.
stuff. Yeah. They pulled all of those cameras, especially for the time, that 1:30 time. Phylicia's not on any of them. They never see her leave the apartment. They interview family members, friends, anyone connected to Phylicia. Eventually, police get a tip that leads them to an old well area in a shed behind the home of a relative of Michael's. They bring in cadaver dogs. One of the dogs alerts there. Police drained 20 feet of water from the well, but they came up empty, which is interesting, and we'll come back to that.
Yeah.
Mhm. They put out a reward. It climbs to $36,000. They put up billboards along major highways in Maryland and North Carolina asking for tips. Anyone who might have seen something, anything. Friends and classmates back in Monroe hold a carnival to raise money in Phylicia's honor. They also hold a vigil and community rallies. And through it all of this going on, the national media stays almost completely quiet. In January 2011, just a few weeks into searching for Phylicia, Baltimore police spokesman, a man named Anthony, said something publicly that I think deserves to be repeated. He said something to the effect of, "This case is no different from the Natalie Holloway case. The only difference is Phylicia is from North Carolina. She went missing in Baltimore, and she is African American."
So basically, teenager on vacation disappears without a trace.
And one, you know her name.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone knows her name.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying they shouldn't. They absolutely should. But they should also know Phylicia's name.
Right. And it is interesting that it is getting press in Baltimore and her hometown, but yet it wasn't picked up and syndicated.
Not at all. I honestly
Because usually we don't even see local pick it up, or it's a very, very minor blurb.
Yeah. And I
there's
don't.
all these resources,
Mm-hmm.
unprecedented amounts, and yet it's not making national news.
And it really is, except Phylicia's even younger.
Yeah, because Natalie was, 18?
Yeah, she graduated. And when Phylicia went missing, she hadn't even turned 17 yet.
Yeah.
A family spokesperson was even more direct. They said they had been pitching the story to national outlets since December 29th, the day after she vanished, and they could get no traction. America's Most Wanted, one of the biggest platforms for missing person cases at the time, did eventually air a brief mention during a commercial break. I don't even know how that works.
Yeah. I've never seen them just blurb. Usually it's full coverage.
Yep, not here. Police get a little bit stuck. They try to get more cell phone data, which helps a bit. They see that Phylicia's phone was shut off at 1:03 p.m. and never turned back on. Michael's phone was off from 11:35 a.m. to 1:04 p.m.
That's weirdly coincidental.
Yeah, weirdly coincidental. And he was on his phone a lot that day. Calls, texts, in and out.
Except for that time frame. Now, when they watched all that video, can they confirm his comings and goings based on, proving that he's telling the truth on that part?
They can see his comings and goings. His story did seem to change a lot.
Okay.
Which is partly why it took so long to nail down that exact timeline for the day. But
which, again, devil's advocate, I could see, because if you're packing, you're not really paying attention to the time. You're just packing and going and coming back and packing more and going and
and
just trying to shove as much as you can probably into your car.
On that devil's advocate side of things, but also on the a little bit sus, people point to the fact that he didn't call in to say he wasn't coming to work until after his shift started. But I think that plays into what you just said. It's possible that his day was so chaotic and rushed that he didn't even realize he was supposed to be at work. And even though he was planning on calling in.
Yeah, if you tell your ex, hey, I'm done at the apartment, but I'm going to call out of work.
But then he didn't.
You would hang up and you'd call out of work.
If you're a responsible adult. But one of his coworkers did say that he didn't show up for work 3 or 4 times a month. So not sure how this
So that's a normal
keeps it going.
Right. So that's a normal
it is a normal
occurrence
one
for him that he just doesn't feel like going, so he doesn't go.
Yeah.
And calls whenever he feels like it
Yeah.
to let them know.
Exactly. The cell phone data showed that by 1:28, Michael had left Dina's place, and his phone connects to towers in southwest Baltimore, near where some of his relatives live. Later,
How far is that from Dina's apartment?
not that far, but a whole other area of the city. I want to say 10, 15 minutes.
So a good amount of distance.
Yeah. Later, because I want to say his phone turned on at 1:04. He talked to her. Then he made.
Now, can they tell if it was turned off and on or if it was dead and then charged up again?
It doesn't. To me, it sounds like it was turned off and back on.
Right.
But I guess you could charge it
I know,
while
I
it was
wonder-
turned off.
Well,
and
but
then turn it back on.
But I wonder because I wonder if there's a way to tell the difference because
I wonder that too.
yeah, I'm like that might be something to Google.
Because in a lot of cases I read, their phone died or was shut off at this time.
Yeah.
And I don't see the
The delineation between them. So yeah, like maybe that there is no technological way to tell if it was purposely shut down or if the battery just died. And when you pop it into a charger and it starts charging again, so it flips back on if it's just the same exact showing on the data.
I know also, I don't even know if he has an iPhone.
Oh, yeah.
Because it is 2010. They're still newer.
Oh, didn't they start in 2011? No, that was when I got my first one. I think they're 09.
8 or 9.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They definitely didn't have that type of information then.
I don't think so, unfortunately. Later, they can see that Michael's phone connects near a 16,000-acre park west of Baltimore called Patapsco Valley State Park. Now, even though it's connecting near this park, it's also near a Walmart.
So I Googled because I'm just curious. Now, granted, this is probably in 2026 terms, but a sudden loss of service without warning will usually indicate a dead battery, whereas a graceful, immediate transaction to voicemail may indicate it was switched off. So,
interesting.
So now if you have Life 360, it will show the last known battery level or a location before it died. Forced restart, trying to turn the phone on might show low battery icon indicating it's dead, whereas so that's physically in your presence though.
Right. I bet that's going to come up in cases. Life 360. I haven't seen it in a case yet, but
so thank you, Reddit.
Mm-hmm.
Functionally, there's no difference. If an iPhone is powered off or has no battery, the network treats it the same. Calls just go, direct to voicemail.
Gotcha.
So there would be no way to tell if it was truly dead or if he manually turned it off.
Interesting. And back then,
and knowing, especially then you only have one charging cord. His is probably at his new place.
Mm-hmm.
He's no longer sleeping there. So yeah, again, I can go with it. Yes, his phone really did die.
Yeah, you can. There is room for devil's advocate with that for sure. That is interesting that aside from Life 360, you can't really tell.
Mm-hmm.
Good to
and
know.
even that'll just say, here's the last known location or here's the last known battery level. So that's not even really indicative of anything.
Yeah. But at least if it said last known battery level and it's 50%, you could assume it was turned off.
Right. Yes, that's true. Good point.
Instead of just died.
Mm-hmm.
So detectives got the extra cell phone data and they did decide to search that park that his phone pinged nearby, even though he was at Walmart. He was buying storage containers for moving and whatever else. I haven't seen a full list of what he bought, but I do know part of it was 22-gallon storage bins.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. On April 9th, 2011, detectives decided to search that area. They had a couple hundred officers comb through the woods, everything in the area. There are some abandoned buildings that are part of what the reporting says is an old mill complex, and they were especially interested in those. While they didn't find Phylicia, they did find another body that was unrelated to her case. And that was of a white man who was partially decomposed. He was dressed in several layers of clothing near a makeshift campsite. This individual had never been reported missing, and later they found that he had died of exposure and natural causes. So, not related to Phylicia, but interesting that they found somebody else in need of being found.
Mm-hmm.
After the search, lead detective Daniel Nicholson IV tells reporter Peter Herman, who did a lot of reporting on this case, that police have run down every single tip that they have gotten, no matter what the tip is, no matter how insane or wild or out there. They had gotten over 200 from the 24-hour hotline alone, but they weren't getting tips anymore. And police essentially declared themselves back at square one. And we're going to pause here because what comes next in Phylicia's story deserves its own space, its own time, its own episode. Here's where we are. It is April 2011. Phylicia Barnes has been missing for more than 3 months. Baltimore police have searched parks, pulled security footage, offered reward money, put her face on billboards along major highways. The FBI has been involved from nearly the beginning. Her family has not stopped fighting, not for a single day. And the national media has still barely said her name. The search is ongoing, but the leads have gone quiet. Investigators are not giving up, but they have no answers yet. And somewhere in a river, about an hour northeast of Baltimore, the truth is waiting to be found. We will pick up exactly here in part 2. We will talk about what workers found on the morning of April 20th. We will talk about what the medical examiner determined. We will talk about who investigators believe is responsible. And we will talk about the legal and justice system that followed over the next 8 years. And we will talk about what justice means when the legal system has run its course and still delivered nothing. Part 2 will drop into your feed next Thursday. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. And in the meantime, if you have any information about what happened to Phylicia Simone Barnes on December 28th, 2010, please contact Baltimore Metro Crime Stoppers at 1-866-7-LOCK-UP, LOCKUP. And we'll put that in the show notes. You can remain completely anonymous. And remember, say her name, say Phylicia Barnes, and we'll see you in part 2. The case of Phylicia Barnes is officially closed, but closed does not mean the truth has been found. And if you know something, anything about what happened to Phylicia Barnes on December 28th, 2010, in that apartment in Northwest Baltimore, we are asking you to come forward. It's never too late for tips. It is never too late. Tips have broken cold cases decades after the fact. One phone call from one person who has been sitting on something for years could change everything. No name required, no court appearances required, just information. You can also reach out to the Maryland State Police Homicide Unit. The investigators who worked Phylicia's case can still receive tips. Contact them through the Maryland State Police tip line, 1-800-CALL-FBI, or the FBI Baltimore field offices. And we will list all of this and their contact in our show notes. If you're not comfortable calling, you can submit tips online through the Baltimore City Police Department's website. There's a digital tip form that's available around the clock. So please, if you know something, say something for every member of Phylicia's family who's been waiting for the truth for more than 15 years. Phylicia is not an outsider. She is one name in a long list of names that most people will never hear. The Black and Missing Foundation estimates that Black Americans account for roughly a third of all missing persons in the United States. A third. And yet the coverage, the urgency, the national conversation, it does not reflect that proportion in any way. That gap between who goes missing and who the country chooses to care about is not inevitable. It's not natural. It's a choice. It's made by editors and producers and bookers and audiences every single day. And it can be unmade. Not all at once, not easily, but case by case, name by name, it can be unmade, which is one of the reasons why this podcast exists and why you are here. And that is why we are going to keep saying names like Phylicia Barnes out loud, in detail, with the full weight of who she was and what she deserved, until the silence that swallowed her becomes impossible to maintain. I started this episode by telling you about a 16-year-old girl, a straight-A student, an athlete. She had a future ahead of her that should have been long and full and entirely hers. I told you that almost nobody outside of Baltimore and Monroe, North Carolina, know her name. And I hope that is no longer true for you. I hope you carry Phylicia Simone Barnes with you when you leave this episode, not just as a case, but as a person, a real specific, irreplaceable person who deserved so much more than she got from the systems that were supposed to protect her and the cameras that were supposed to tell her stories. Her family gave everything they had to make sure she was not forgotten. The least we can do is make sure she isn't. Say her name, share this episode, and if you know something, you know what to do. Thank you so much for joining us for this special crossover episode. You can find part 2 in your feed right now. If you liked Vanished Voices, follow it on any streaming platform and join us every week for new cases similar to this one.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Vanished Voices. We are grateful you've chosen to spend your time with us as we bring attention to these stories that too often go unheard. If you'd like to learn more about the resources and sources we used in today's episode, visit our blog, linked through our website at vanishedvoicespodcast.com. Be sure to connect with us on Instagram and YouTube. Just search for @VanishedVoicesPod. We'd love to hear your thoughts, feedback, and reflections, and to continue building this community with you. If you found value in today's episode, please take a moment to rate, review, and share the podcast. Your support not only helps us reach more listeners, but also helps amplify the voices of those who can no longer speak for themselves. You can find Vanished Voices on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, YouTube, and all other major streaming platforms. And as always, refuse to let these voices vanish.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
I'm here on a job site with Tim, who owns his own electrical contracting business.
3 employees and 2 work trucks.
Tim traded up to Geico Commercial Auto Insurance. We're positively here where he needs us most.
They sure are.
With step-by-step help on all his insurance needs, all for shockingly low rates.
Shockingly low, huh?
Just a little bit of electrician humour. Do you get it?
I got it.
You know, it feels like we have a real connection. All right, I'll stop.
Get a commercial auto insurance quote today at geico.com and see how much you could save. It feels good to Geico.